Okay, so today we're on chapter 5.5. Okay, so chapter 5.5 today. And we're going to be learning something called the Pythagorean theorem. Thank you. Okay, we're going to learn about something called the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so the Pythagorean theorem is applies to right triangles. Okay, so we're going to be these are only going to be talking about right triangles. Okay, you know if something is a right triangle because it's going to have the little square in the bottom. Okay, so if you were going to label, a triangle, okay, what would you call each one of these, each side here? These are called a leg. Okay, these are the two legs. Does anyone know what the long side is?
The body?
No.
Oh. The head?
This is called the hypotenuse.
Wow. That was way off.
Okay. The side that's opposite the right angle. Okay, so it's always the longest side. The side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Yep. Okay, and these two are both called legs. So, first thing you need to know is we need to be able to use the right terminology. Okay, so these are the legs of a triangle. The one that's opposite the right angle is always called the hypotenuse. And yes, you will need to know how to write that. Okay, now, the H-Y-P-O
That's a O?
T-E-N-U-S-E. Yes. Hypotenuse. But you say it hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Okay. Now, the actual Pythagorean theorem. Okay. What the Pythagorean theorem, tells us is that in a right triangle, the sum have a seat, please. Write this down. In a right triangle, the sum of the squares of both legs, the sum of the squares of both legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse.
That's a long one.
Yep. In a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. So I want you to get that written down, and then we're going to talk about it. But I want you to write it down first.
Explain what that all means.
I will. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to break it down, but write it down first. So, instead of writing leg and hypotenuse, I'm going to change these, okay? These are called leg and hypotenuse, but I'm going to make it a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to label these with letters, okay? I'm going to label this one as A, this is B, hypotenuse is always C. Okay, the hypotenuse is always the C. Always. So, the Pythagorean theorem basically tells you that this is telling you that the leg squared plus the length of the other leg squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. This is telling you basically that this leg squared, so that length squared, that number squared, plus this number squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. Now that's still kind of complicated looking. So instead of writing just leg and hypotenuse, let's change it in for numbers, okay, or for letters, excuse me. So this means a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is going to be the formula that you need to memorize. Okay, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Because we are going to use that formula a lot. Okay, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, have to have that memorized. So does everybody have that part down? Or are we still writing? Are we still writing, or are you done with that part? Okay. I'll let you guys catch up, and then we'll actually start on some stuff with numbers. Everybody caught up? Okay, so for example number 1. Okay, for example number 1. It's going to tell you to write an equation to find the missing length. Okay, write an equation to find the missing length. So the first one I'm going to give you is we're going to do a triangle. These are all going to deal with triangles. I'm going to put a little right angle in the corner, and I'm going to label this. Okay, let's say that this side is 12 inches, this one is 16 inches, and this one is C inches. So I'm asking you to write an equation to find the missing length. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use this Pythagorean theorem. Okay, we're going to write the leg squared plus the leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So what are the leg lengths here? 12 and 16. So the way we plug this into the Pythagorean theorem, does it matter which one is 12 and which one is 16 here? No, because they're on the same side of the equation. So 12 squared plus 16 squared equals, do we know the hypotenuse length? No, so we're going to write C squared. Then we actually have to work this out, okay? So you have to know your squares. If you don't know your squares, there is a list up on the wall, okay? But it would be a very good idea for you to start memorizing these things. So what is 12 squared? 144. Plus, what's 16 squared? 256. Okay, it's up there as well. Okay, it's on the kind of little one that says common squares. Equals C squared. Then you're actually going to add these together. So what's 144 plus 256? 400 equals C squared. How do you think you undo a square? You root it. We don't divide, but we root it. Okay, square root both sides. Then you have to go backwards. Okay, what number squared gives you 400? What number squared gives you 400? 20. And that is your answer. Okay, 20 is this length. Okay, we're going to do a couple more, so hold on. Okay, I'm not done, guys. Calm down. It's going to be all right. Okay, let's try another one. Number 2. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to give you another triangle. And this time I'm going to tell you that this one is 9 inches. This side is 12 inches. And this is C inches. And I want you to do the exact same thing. I want you to find the missing length. So this time we have side lengths of 9 and 12. Okay, we should definitely be taking notes right now. David? Drew. David. Write this down. Okay, someone can give you a piece of paper. Thank you. So again, we're going to set up an equation. Okay, we're going to set up our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then we're going to substitute. What would you plug in for a and b? 9 and 12. So 9 squared plus 12 squared equals what? C squared. Okay, what is 9 squared? 81. Plus, what's 12 squared? 144. Equals C squared. We're just plugging things in now. What is 81 plus 144?
225.
225. Equals C squared. How do I undo a square?
Square root.
Square root both sides. Now, this is why it's important for you to know your squares, because you have to know how to go backwards, okay? What's the square root of 225? 15 equals C. That's your answer. That's your missing side length.
Wait, Miss Coop. Okay. You got. Wait, I did it. The 9 just like was over staring at her.
Okay, and on this one, it doesn't matter if you do 9 first or 12 first, because they're on the same side. So if you did 12 squared plus 9 squared, that's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing, so they're on the same side. Okay, let's try different kinds. Okay, let's try different kinds. Same thing, I'm still wanting you to find the missing side length. Okay, find the missing side length. If I give you... let's see. Find the missing side length. If I give you a triangle that is 8 meters, 24 meters, and B meters. Okay, oops, sorry. Find the missing side length. And I want to see if you guys can try to fill that one in. Or step that one out. I'm sure you do.
How do we know which one's C squared?
That's what you have to try to figure out.
Oh, wait. Wait, are they still going to be squares? Okay.
Okay, so this one. Listen, we're still plugging into that same formula. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, which one do you think is the a measurement here? 8. So 8 squared plus what's the b measurement? It's b. Equals, what's the c? C is 24. Okay, listen, the C measurement is always the one that's across from the right angle. Okay, this one is always the one across from the right angle. So this is where you have to make sure you plug things into the right place. Okay, you have to plug them into the right place. Then we have to actually work this out. Okay, so what's 8 squared? 64. Plus b squared equals, what's 24 squared? 576. Okay. Then how would I solve this? Any ideas? Subtract, right? So subtract 64 from both sides. We subtract 64 from both sides. We get b squared equals what? 512. Now, how would I solve that? How do I solve that? Square root both sides. Does anyone know what is the square root of 512?
256. What? No. Wait, how's that 512? Wait,
Chelsea, do you have
it's not an even root.
What do you mean, how's it 512?
Okay.
6 minus 4 is 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. 5 minus 0 is 5.
It's not a square root.
Okay, this is not a perfect square. So, listen. So starting on this one, I'm going to let you use calculators. Now, listen, I have calculators for you guys to borrow. I don't want you to get them at this moment, okay, because I'm going to tell you about the rules about borrowing my calculators, okay? But for now, I'm just going to do this for you, okay, just in case you don't know how to use a calculator to find square roots. So the way you do this is put in the number and then hit the square root button, and it should give it to you, okay? So this one is what? B is equal to 22.6, and you're always going to round to one decimal place. Okay, so if it says round to the tenths, that means one decimal place. And this one stays 6 because 2, you don't need to round up. Okay, so that's the answer that I'm looking for. On your homework, I will let you guys use your phones, but I'd prefer that but like on your test and stuff, absolutely no phones. So get used to either borrowing one of my calculators or bring one from home. Yeah, so you can use calculators, that's fine. But you're not using your phones as calculators. I do not want that. Okay? No. Okay, next thing I want to know. Listen, hey guys, we're not done. Okay, so now you should be able to find the hypotenuse length. You should also be able to find a missing side length. Okay? The last thing that I want to make sure you know how to do, for example number 4. Hey, people, stop talking. Hey, we're not going to get out on time and you guys are going to be running late and I'm not writing any passes. So stop. The last thing I want you to be able to do is if I tell you the measures of 3 sides, the measures of 3 sides of a triangle, the measures of 3 sides of a triangle are 24 inches, 7 inches, and 25 inches. Okay, if I give you that, I want you to determine whether the triangle is a right triangle. I want you to tell me, if I give you a triangle that has these 3 measurements for the sides, is it a right triangle? I'm going to show you how right now. Hold on. So, a right triangle, you know something's a right triangle if the Pythagorean theorem works. Okay, what is the Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So, we want to see, does this work for these measurements? Okay, does it work for these measurements? But first, you have to figure out which one is which. Okay? The A and the B part really don't matter. It doesn't matter which is A and which is B. The only one that's super important is the C measurement because it has to be by itself. The C measurement is always the biggest one. Okay? The C measurement is always the biggest one. So which one is going to go on the right side? 25. Okay? And we're going to square it. Then A and B, it doesn't matter which order they're in because they're on the same side. So 24 squared is your first one, plus 7 squared equals 25 squared. And we want to know, is this true or not? So we're going to work it out. What is 24 squared? And yes, you can use calculators or you can use, right now we have the chart on the wall, it's 576. Plus, what's 7 squared? 49, you probably already should have known that one. Equals 25 squared is 625. If you add these together, what do I get?
Wait, how did you get 625? You added
25 squared, I looked up there on the chart, 25 squared is 625. Is 576 plus 49 equal to 625? Yes, so if you get 625 equals 625, or if you get a true equation, what does that tell you? It is a right triangle, okay? So yes, okay, so determine whether the triangle is a right triangle. Yes, it's a right triangle, okay? And the reason is because 24 squared plus 7 squared equals 25 squared. That's, if it says justify your answer, that's what you're supposed to be writing.
Yes. Because, yeah.
That is why. Okay, homework for this. You're going to be working on page 415. You are doing numbers 1 through 9 and 16 through 21. 1 through 9 and 16 through 21. Sorry, let me move that up for you. Okay, you are not out of this class. You are not to be packing up until I tell you. So you are not packing up for at least 10 more minutes. So you need to stay at your seat and be working for at least 10 more minutes. So do not put your books away. So get them back out of your backpacks, open them, and start working.